It's Thursday, June 25th, 2015. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, we are talking about furniture. Exciting! We're kind of old now.
Let's do this.
Go ahead.
So, Rim, what did you say that, your rib cage, right? It's got like two halves that are sort of lung-shaped. And then, the two sort of half-circle bits, they come, they meet together at the bottom.
Oh, yeah, like you got the solar plexus or whatever.
Yeah, what did you say the name of that area was?
The hypochondrius?
Yeah. So it's like I got some weird feelings in there lately, for like the past few days.
Oh, it looks like it's actually the hypochondriac region. It appears to be the origin of the word hypochondria because that's the place where generic pain that may or may not be bullshit just appears.
Yeah, so I've been having I wouldn't call it pain because I'm not like ow or suffering, but it's like I'm having discomforts and strange feelings.
Well, I did Google search for baby hands grabbing the inside of my rib cage. And
I don't know. And it's like, well, if you search for chest pain, which I guess, right, it's like the internet's like, go to the hospital immediately. You could be having a heart attack and there's no way to know unless you go to the ER.
Yep.
Don't die. And I'm like, well, it's been 3 days and I just biked over the bridge like 4 times.
I feel like you got to be at least 15 or so more years older before that. Chest pain equals heart attack is something you got to really think about.
Yeah, I'm like, if I'm having a heart attack, I would be falling on the floor, right?
There are like weird partial heart attacks that have happened to people, but again, I don't think you have.
Anyway, so I don't think that's a problem. I guess what else could it be? Like heartburn? I've never had heartburn in my life. And I took a Tums, and it didn't do anything.
Well, I've realized that's an interesting problem where there's certain kinds of pain that are very easy to like describe or like certain kinds of discomfort that you might have. Mm-hmm. So like if I have a headache, I can be like, I have a fucking headache.
Yes.
It really hurts.
Yes.
But then there's like, if I have to describe what heartburn feels like to another human being, it's actually kind of hard to describe it in a satisfactory manner. Mm-hmm. So I always wonder, if I have a lot of weird pains that I didn't have before. Are they things that everyone has when they're my age?
I'm pretty sure a lot of this is just oldening, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But it's still, I'd rather not feel this right now. And really, all I need is confirmation I'm not dying.
I think you just need to go to the doctor and be like, hey.
But now I would just go to the doctor. And if I was in some country with just awesome healthcare, I would just go to the doctor. But in this country, going to the doctor is a huge pain in my ass.
Yeah, I'll tell you guys a story.
So if I go to the doctor for no fucking reason, it's like, God damn it.
So I have two stories.
But if I die because I didn't go to the doctor, well, God damn it.
That is one of the leading causes of death in men is untreated rectal cancer because guys just don't go to the doctor in the U.S.
Well, I mean, if you have rectal cancer, you're going to have some pretty big butt problems.
Yeah, but a lot of those symptoms get ignored. Men in the U.S., statistically, just don't go to the doctor until it's way too late.
At some point blood going to come out of your asshole?
Well, blood will come out for a lot of things, actually.
Sure, but I mean, if blood comes out your asshole for any reason, except eating Chipotle, you're going to the doctor, the next day. That's not something where you need to be like, do I need to go to the doctor or not, right? Vague discomfort in the hypochondrius is questionable whether you should go to the doctor or not.
Here's the way I would think about it. Everyone, if they have vague discomfort in the hypochondrius, gets to go to the doctor once. Because then you know. Because there's only 3 outcomes. Yes, you have pancreatic cancer. We're sorry. You've got a month. It's no, there's nothing wrong with you and that'll go away. It's this X thing and it'll disappear. Or there's nothing wrong with you. Suck it up. That sucks. Come back in a month. And we'll tell you the same thing. I don't know what to do about that.
Yeah.
But so when I had Lyme disease way back, I had a headache for a month.
Well, I mean, if a headache lasts more than a few days and doesn't go away, I at least think I have migraines and I'm going to go try to get help with my migraine.
But that's it. I've had headaches that lasted a week.
That's pain, right? So if I had pain in the hypochondrius, ow, 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 I'm suffering, I would at least want pain reliever.
Yep. Well, no, that's my line.
Painful,
if there's
I would go to the doctor or perhaps even the ER. But if it's just strange discomfort, maybe it's a ball of gas.
Yeah,
if I drink water, while I'm drinking water, it feels good. So maybe it's something in my esophagus.
Oh. Could be, in that region, there's a thing that can happen with a prolapse at the top of the stomach that I know about because way back when I had serious heartburn at RIT, doctor described all these horrible things that could be wrong that were causing the heartburn.
Great.
But then in the end, he was like, actually, just sleep more and it'll all go away.
I've been sleeping a lot lately.
Yeah. But so in retrospect, I waited like 2 weeks before I went to the doctor with that headache because it wasn't like the worst headache.
I rarely have headaches, so if I have a headache that lasts more than like hours, I will go to a doctor. I pretty much never have a headache.
If I run like a hard half marathon, I'll have a headache for like the entire next day sometimes.
That's probably a sign you shouldn't do that.
No, well, that's why I'm never going to run a marathon.
Oh, okay, I'll just get a headache, but I'm not going to run.
Yeah, but at the other time, when I, this is a personal story, but I had a lymph node, in my groin, like on your thigh, like in the leg area, like that area. And that lymph node swelled up one day, like about a year ago. Real big.
How
on one
big?
side.
Like baseball? Golf ball?
No. Like a large grape.
That's not big. I have a lump in my arm that's grape size.
No, I'm not big. So more like, you didn't watch Fury Road.
A globe grape?
Like big enough to where I looked at it and thought, wow, that's probably cancer.
Okay.
And it seemed to be growing rapidly.
All right.
So it actually took me, because of the American healthcare system, a full month to get an appointment with someone who could look at it other than a GP who said, yeah, you should get an appointment with a specialist. So that was fun. So I had it for a month. I got an appointment I went to get a doctor's appointment. Another month went by because it takes forever.
You could have been dead by then.
And in the last week of that month, like literally a few days before the appointment, fucking thing just went away. It was gone. I went to the doctor and I was like, yeah, I have nothing.
So why did you even just cancel your appointment?
Well, I still explained like what happened. And I was like, so is there anything you can check? Like, and she's like, I don't know.
Why even go at that point? Like if I call a doctor and by the time of my appointment, there's no more babies grabbing my esophagus in my hypochondrium, I'm canceling that shit.
Because you could have a situation where you had a problem that is dormant and could come back. Like you could have what's the name?
But if you go when it's dormant, the doctor's like, oh, you got to go when, like if you got a rash, you can't go to the doctor when the rash is hiding. You got to go when you're covered in hives and shit.
You can go to the doctor when you say, I had this rash, it came and went for like a while. It's
the doctor's
got to
see the rash to
Not
know.
always.
That's like if you call me to come fix your computer and you're like, man, the sound's not working. I come over, you're playing MP3s. And I'm like, I can't really fix the problem because I don't see it.
Scott, you want to know what the
Cannot
problem
reproduce.
is?
Check. Closed.
Do you want to know what the problem is?
Do
you want to know the solution to the problem?
I need a ribcage replacement.
My suggestion to you, based on my experience with our friends who are hypochondriacs and my experiences going to the doctor for nothing, is go to the doctor once for vague discomfort in the hypochondriac region.
I need a regular doctor anyway.
Let me know who you find, because I also need a regular doctor.
I'm just going to the first person on the list.
Yeah, one time I did that, and I got a kind of a med doctor in a weird building in Manhattan.
It does by location, so it looks in Astoria where I live.
I went from Manhattan.
And then it sorts them based on the insurance company's rating.
Yeah. I wish I could just pick any doctor, because then I'd find an awesome tech doctor.
Is there an awesome tech doctor?
I don't know of a way to find an awesome tech doctor.
How do you find one?
Friends, any of you in New York, who is your GP?
I need I had the
awesomest...
Like
Dave, you have to have a doctor in New York, and I trust you.
I went to the awesomest doctor when I first moved here. It was near my office. It was like the best doctor ever.
You used to talk a lot about that doctor.
And I went to him like once. And then I got a letter like a few weeks later, like, yep, awesome doctor is now the director of some awesome hospital in Florida. See ya.
Yep.
I guess I could go to that same office and try to find a doctor in the same office. If that office is still there. It was like NYU something something.
No.
It wasn't near NYU. It was up near my office. But
so, in the news, you might have noticed that we didn't put up an episode on Tuesday. It's because I fucked up. So, we have lost a grand total in all the years, 10 years of doing Geeknights, well over 1,000 episodes. There are 5 episodes of Geeknights where we sat for an hour and recorded, and that is gone.
You know what's really surprising, though? If you look at, like, TV, how many TV episodes have been, like, lost? I mean, sometimes South Park didn't get their episode in on time, but they never lost one, as far as I know. They never had to, like, start over and reanimate everything.
There's, like, tons of Doctor Who episodes. Like, literally, no human could ever watch these. They're gone.
No, but I mean, in recent times.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's no lost Seinfeld or Simpsons. Like, those people are backing everything up and doing it right somehow. So whatever they're doing to never, ever fuck up, we should also do to never, ever fuck up.
So the problem was complacency because, we, way back, like, we had a fuck up. Like, we lost an episode. And I was like, oh, I can't. Because you cannot do an hour of like conversation and then replicate that immediately after just having done it.
Like if your show is scripted, It's like, well, okay, like Jon Stewart has to do Daily Show again. He can.
Yep. Or like we watched that John Hodgman thing. They did the same bit like 15 fucking times.
Yep.
We just had to sit there and watch it. But so way back then I was like, we're never fucking this up again. I bought like the $600 Marantz and I like set up this whole side stream and it saved us like 3 or 4 times. And then it didn't happen again for a long
And
time.
every few months or so, I'd look at the Marantz, and if it wasn't on, I'd be like, hey, Rim, why isn't that backup Marantz on? Why aren't you backing up?
And I'd be like, oh,
What
shit.
if it fucks up right now?
And I'd be like, oh, shit. And I'd turn it on.
No,
But then,
sometimes
no.
you turn it on, and sometimes you
I was
did
about
not
to say,
turn it on.
Back then, I'd be like, oh, shit. And I'd turn it on. But as more time went on, I'd say, it'll be fine.
And I'd be like, really? Well, it's going to fuck up. Maybe you should turn it on.
So it's been years, like years since we've had a problem. Because one, software got better. Like nowadays, like if my computer crashes or the power goes out, these files are on the hard drive on my computer already. Like they can't be lost by those kinds of things.
You're not using Resound.
Oh my God, those days. I should do a show and talk
Or
about
Audacity.
if I ever need to do a show like without you, like you're out of town or something. I'll just explain what our pipeline was in like the 7 different eras of Geeknights.
The 7 eras.
Because there was a pipeline that involved me sitting for like 3 fucking hours editing a show by hand. Anyway, so it has not happened in a long time. And on Tuesday, when we recorded the show, not only did it fuck up, but it fucked up in a way that I had never even imagined possible. So we do the show. And I monitor the show. Like, I look at the mixer. I see all the levels, like, while I'm talking the whole time, both on the mixer and in Audition. And I see the waveforms being written, which pretty much meant everything's fine. It's not clipping. I see things being written. Those are on my hard disk. So we finished the show, and it's a really, really good show, I think. Like, I was at a really good Geek Nights.
Okay.
And then...
You think everything is good?
No, we've had some shit episodes. So then a few hours go by, and I'm ready to go to bed.
Like this one?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh. So I go to like do the edit of the show. Like I cut a couple things.
Should
move
I
a couple
not
things
say
around.
oh? Is that too morning radio show guy?
Hey oh. No, because I think it's ironic at this point.
Okay.
Sometimes booey.
It just comes out sometimes.
So this is as a side. When I got Geek Nights back up on iTunes, I was reading those old reviews of us. Multiple people said the same thing different ways.
What did they say?
Their complaint
You sure it
was
wasn't the same person writing a bunch of different reviews?
these reviews are actually like 2 were on iTunes, 1 was somewhere else. They were very different.
Okay.
Their complaint was we sound too professional and we sound like people on the radio and like we're too high energy and loud and always talking and there's no pauses or breaks and it sounds too fake.
Well,
We got to
'cause we don't-
sound less fake.
We don't have music or ads to break it up. It's what do you want?
Yep.
What
No,
should-
their complaint was we needed to sound more like awkward nerds. It sounded like.
Do you want us to sound like NPR, where it's quiet and then
Tonight on Geek Nights, we're going to be talking about some things that have happened.
we
But
insert-
first, Scott's got a story for you.
gonna pause in between Rim's story,
Yeah.
my story,
And play a
now
little like some slow jam to like
play a little. Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, I hit play and I'm listening to the show, just like check a couple things, and I hear like the intro play and everything, and then I hear robots yelling at me. What the fuck?
I am the pusher robot.
Yeah, so so long story short,
I will push you down the stairs.
I look around, I zoom, like I can't, like it's a weird problem, and I like my filters, and we had just upgraded
I'll
Adobe
protect you
Audition.
from the terrible secret of space.
So I thought that maybe like my template for Geek Nights got messed up in the upgrade or something. So I check all the effects racks, and eventually I turn off all the effects, and as the problem's still there. So then I open the raw wave file, and I zoom in, and then I see. I'm not going to go into detail beyond this, but I will link to an analysis of what happened. But shit went down in the wave file. And thanks to our good friend Tracy, who helped me.
It's a good thing we know so many experts at various things.
Yes, because I'm an expert at audio, but I'm not a great developer. I also have not written Python code in a long time. And me fucking around with the wave library in Python is not the most efficient thing in the world. But Tracy helped me out and removed the repeated segments of 71 null samples that were occurring every like 800-ish samples in the files. And I got to do a bunch more work, but the lost episode of Geek Nights from Tuesday will have some audio issues, but will be intelligible and listenable, and is going to be up probably this weekend.
Probably put a non-horrible audio
Disclaimer in the front?
Disclaimer at the front, like, just so you know, this episode might sound really painful to your ears. If it does, just stop it.
Exactly.
And don't listen to it.
Because we don't want to turn people off, because this is the episode where we talk about Will Wheaton being kind of an asshole at length. So I suspect, much like how the Go community found our Go is a bad game video recently, I suspect the Will Wheaton community might find that episode of Geeknights.
We're just saying mostly the same stuff as everyone else, but then adding in the extra stuff about no one knowing how to read board game rules.
Yep, exactly. That part I think is going to anger more people.
Maybe.
Or maybe the guy who wrote Hellas will talk to us.
No.
So, you got some news?
Yes, I do have some news. So obviously, something we've known for a long time is that if you put out a Confederate flag in a sincere fashion, you're a bad person.
Pretty much straight up.
And the Confederate flag symbolizes racism and wanting slaves.
There is no debate about that.
Also, people don't know history. They think the Confederate flag is the flag of the Confederacy. It's not. It's the flag of General Lee. The actual Confederate flag looked a lot more like an American flag.
Yep. Well, people, to this day, a lot of people think that the Confederate government used the Articles of Confederation because they're stupid.
No, that was something that happened before we made the Constitution.
Yep.
And we were like, oops, that didn't work.
Yep.
Let's make the Constitution.
No.
And the Confederacy was like, we kind of like the shitty way better. That was already proven not to work. Let's do something similar to that.
No, what the Confederacy actually did, you don't even know the full story here.
No.
What they actually did, and it would be funny if it wasn't so sad and so tied to one of the most tragic chapters in American history.
Every chapter of American history is tragic.
We got some good ones.
Okay.
We got some good things happen a couple times.
Uh-huh.
So,
even when we were going to the moon, people were aiming nukes at us.
But they didn't launch them. We didn't launch them. That's our thing. So, the Confederacy took the real U.S. Constitution, copied it with some errors, copied the whole thing, changed a couple of bullshitty things that didn't matter for no reason, just to be different. So, instead of a president that have 2 terms of 4 years, our president is 6 years, but they can only have 1 term. Woohoo! And then they added "and slavery" to fucking everything. They just added all these clauses saying slavery is a God-given right. Slavery is like an unalienable right. Slavery cannot be removed from any state. Slavery, 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 slavery.
So all those people who really don't know history, including one of my history professors at RIT, who taught you have to take this class senior year just to make a requirement. It's mostly a freshman high school history class, who say things like, oh yes, the Civil War was actually about state rights, economic something.
John
something,
Green
something.
said it best. A state's right to what?
Slavery.
Oh, there's one other thing they changed, which is extra hilarious. They added a whole section that basically says you cannot use tax dollars on the federal level or from any one state to help another state with anything.
We could use that. I'm down with that rule.
Yeah, so
bring it. Bring that rule.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens, Texas.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens, Nebraska. How you doing, Nebraska?
Actually, Texas is pretty much the only red state that would be okay.
I'm just saying, Nebraska.
Nebraska not looking so hot with that. Mississippi.
What you doing down there? You make anything?
But yeah,
you got any econ going on?
But yeah, we could do a whole show on this stuff.
Is there even a business in Mississippi?
But
it's not like a liquor store.
Mississippi is probably the worst state in the union.
Maybe.
But anyway, I don't want to get into all this. We could do a whole couple hour show on this.
The actual news is that Apple and many other businesses have decided to get rid of, and states too, finally, are getting rid of Confederate flags, which is good.
Yeah, it's a great thing in my opinion.
Right. Well, I guess it's still okay to watch Dukes of Hazzard, but that's not that great show anyway. I don't know why you would. But
it was kind of like Robin Hood with cars. I liked it as a kid.
Yeah, maybe, whatever. But anyway, Apple went all out and was like, you know what? Anything with the Confederate flag in it is banned from the App Store. They just removed every single app that had that image in it anywhere. And it's like, wait a minute.
Now, that would be fine if it were for the fact that most of the apps that have that image in it are Civil War, war simulation.
I'm sure that somewhere it's being used racistly in the App Store, but you didn't even take the time to actually look at each app. And it's like, dude, that's just Grognard war game in there. What if the board game store, if I went to the board game store and they had a game that was like, keep slaves on purpose and had Confederate flags on it, and be like, yeah, listen, I'm not putting that game on my shelf. I'm a game store.
But if it's North and South, the Battle of Gettysburg.
Or North and South, the NES game.
Yep.
It's like, well, yeah, I mean, you play Wolfenstein 3D. It has Nazi swastikas in it.
And I know there's...
But that's different from Kill All the Jews, the game.
Yep.
Which has Nazi swastikas in it.
Now...
You have to, use your judgment and not, instead of, I know a lot of people always like cry censorship when it's not. And this isn't because it's Apple, but it's still stupid.
So... Apple completely
fucked up. That's like if you have
here.
a forum and you're trying to ban bad people from the forum and you end up banning perfectly good people from the forum. It's like, why did you do that?
Yep. Now, here's the so there's a bunch of updates to the store. But yeah, Apple just pulled literally everything that has any image of the Confederate flag, which is a completely stupid thing to have done.
Pretty dumb.
But the update I see here is, quote, this is from the Touch Arcade article, we have an official update from an official Apple statement regarding the removal of games.
If you reapply, they'll actually take a look.
Specifically, Apple states that we have removed apps from the App Store that use the Confederate flag in offensive or mean-spirited ways, which is a violation of our guidelines. Now, obviously, I'm just me again. That's bullshit because they removed games like Ultimate General Gettysburg.
Yeah, which is not offensive in any way unless you really hate any war games.
I mean, if you hate
I'm sure it's offensive to someone, maybe someone who is actually Confederate and thought the Confederates would win. They're upset that they lost. They don't want to be reminded that the North is going to kick their ass.
So sources, this is not an official thing, close to Apple say that actually they're working to find all the apps that are good and bring them back in, but they're still going to require the developers to remove or replace the Confederate flag, so Apple is still full of bullshit.
Why would you remove the Confederate flag from a Civil War, serious war simulation turn-based strategy game?
I think Maxim Zazov said it best.
How do I know what the other team is?
One of the developers of one of these games said it best. I'm quoting Maxim Zazov. Spielberg's Schindler's List did not try to amend his movie to look more comfortable.
Sure.
So Apple, fuck you. And what else can I say? There is no way to spin this in the right way, and it looks like you're literally going 100%.
They're really just being lazy and not taking the time to... It's like they'll take the time to look at your app to make sure it's not malware, but you won't take the time to look at all these apps to make sure they're not offensive. And if this was part of your policy, why didn't you enforce it when these apps were first submitted? I guess you didn't have a problem with the Confederate flag yesterday, but you do today.
What if I have... an app of historical political atlases through history.
Sure.
And also,
what if my app is flag search? You take a picture of a flag and then I tell you what flag it is.
What if my app has the Rhodesian flag in it? Are you gonna let that in?
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll bet you will.
Maybe.
Rhodesian is funny.
What if I have the Eritrean flag in there?
Yeah, well, it's not funny. It's actually sad, but the Rhodesian flag is pretty much like if you see someone with a Confederate flag, they're like your run-of-the-mill racist or just a moron.
Yep.
But if they've got the Rhodesian flag out, that's like inside baseball racism. That's like racism as a hobby.
Well, I mean, Eritrea is basically North Korea, only in Africa.
Yep.
What if I have a North Korean flag and I'm waving it?
Yeah. What about, the Soviet flag?
I mean, it's basically worse than slavery in North Korea right now. They just have people in fucking camps.
Now, I'm super glad that the rebel traitor flag is finally getting the disrespect it deserves across the United States. Sure. That is great. But seriously, Apple, this is almost pathetic. Is this what happens when you don't have Steve Jobs anymore? Rapidly making poor decisions?
I don't know.
And now, things of the day. Scott gave me crap for being too cautious in between that little bit when I stopped to go back and make sure the show sounded good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got the Morants back.
You know what?
Just
My audio hypochondrium is acting up. That's
it sure is.
So my thing of the day yesterday was 2 days ago, that'll be up this weekend, was amazing. So I got a crappy thing of the day. It's not crappy. It's sad. If you live in a city that is small or nice or normal, and not a giant global city of the world, your city might do things like movie nights and little fairs and food things that are free.
And
they're
if they
totally
do,
great.
the worst part will be parking because there's probably not enough parking.
Yeah.
And everyone has cars there. So you'll probably have like a parking garage that you got to pay money to get into.
But like
or
in
something.
Providence, there's water fire night where they just like light all these giant braziers on the river and you just like walk along the water and there's music and food and it's great.
Yep.
In a place like New York, if something is free, you should avoid that area as though Ebola has broken out there.
Unless it's something you really fucking want, in which case get there early.
Or it's something so niche. Like, it's sad to say, hockey is like that. When we saw the hockey games live, it was not a problem, even though it was free, because as much as hockey is great, not that many people care about hockey. But this is a video, I apologize for the verticalness of it, but from the roof of a nearby building in Bryant Park. Bryant Park is one of the best tiny parks in New York City.
Pretty much, it's this big field of grass behind the library, and the library from Ghostbusters.
Yep.
And underneath the grass is where they keep all the books. So on top of that, since you can't really put a building foundation there because there's book storage, there's just a park on top of the library books.
I would eat lunch there like every day. It's just such a nice park.
So it's just a big field of grass. Sometimes you can go in the grass. Sometimes you can't go in the grass.
In fact, there's a wonderful day every year because the grass is closed until like a certain day in spring.
Mm-hmm.
And on that day, a bunch of schools bring a bunch of kids to the park.
Mm-hmm.
And the kids all stand around the edge of the grass. And then they announce the field is now officially open.
And the grass is so nice. It's the highest quality
and you
grass.
get to watch the most delightful scene of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of like little kids run out onto this grass and do what kids do for like 20 minutes.
And around the edge of the grass is all sorts of park shit. Chairs and restaurants.
Ping pong tables.
Yeah.
Also the nicest public bathrooms in all of New York City.
Oh, yeah. If you need to pee,
Yep. Bryant Park.
behind the library.
So there's a free movie night in Bryant Park in the summer. It's a kind of a long-standing thing. This is a video of what it looks like at 4 p.m. when they let people walk onto the grass.
4 p.m. The sun doesn't go down at this time of year until about 8:30. When's the movie? 9?
After dark.
Yeah. The sundown is at 8:30. Sunset.
This video, the most amazing thing about it is that when they start running, it is less than 15 seconds until this motherfucker has a blanket so big you can see it from the sky, filling literally the best possible spot.
That guy's pro.
Yeah, that guy is pro.
But I mean, anything that's
someone
like...
interviewed that guy, actually.
Yeah, anything like this, like free concerts in Central Park, I'll be biking through the park. I'll see a huge line of people. If there's
the Japanese Culture Festival, stand in line for an hour to get one free odongo.
Right. They got that right now. There's a recreation of Seinfeld's apartment. I think near
someone already broke it.
I know, I saw that near Union Square. That guy who broke it, I think, waited in line an hour to go in there and Kramer the door just once.
You know when I'm gonna see that thing? Like 7 years from now.
I don't think it'll be there 7 years from now. I'm not. Why should I need to go see it? Is it really? Right?
Hey, here's the problem, though.
Do I need to get a George sexy picture taken?
I kind of want
myself?
one. So here's the problem. Things like that. If I could just be like, oh, hey, like I'm in the neighborhood, like walk up, see it, and walk out, I would totally do.
Sure.
Those are idle amusements that would be totally cool. In New York, those are things that you have to wait 4 hours to see.
Well, I mean, there are, things vary in popularity, right? So, like, for example, during, like, the World Series, they'll set up, like, the Major League Baseball hangout place.
Yep.
And it's like, you could just fucking walk in there. It's not really a problem. There might be a crowded time or two, but for the most part, you can just walk right in. Those Hatsune Miku Expo, you can just walk right into that.
Yep. Unless you went right when it opened.
It'll be crowded, but you can just get in.
Yeah.
There won't be a line down the street. But anything that is popular and free...
or anything that is a sit-down for a long time event without assigned seating.
Yeah.
Or anything that has free food.
Mm.
Never go for free food. That's probably the worst thing you can ever go for.
Yep.
But yeah, this video is horrifying and amazing. You got a thing of the day?
Oh, a thing of the day. So in Brazil, this guy parked in a handicapped spot because he's a jerk. And I guess they knew that he wasn't handicapped, because A, his car didn't have the thing that says you're allowed to park there.
Yep.
B, they think they saw him get out of the car. And C, I think he's a repeat offender. So a whole mob of people decided to revenge on him for his badness.
Yeah, mob justice.
To teach him a lesson. Why would I say lesson in a French way in Brazil?
How do you even know what a Portuguese accent sounds like?
No.
Okay, neither. I've
I mean,
heard
I definitely
it,
can't imitate one.
I
might be able to pick one out of someone talking, but I definitely cannot even come close to.
You know what? The proof that this
making one with my
guy
mouth.
is not handicapped is his reaction, I think.
Yeah, he is so angry. It is great. Watch him and feel there is justice in the world somewhere.
The best part is the crowd cheering the whole time.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's so many of them that he cannot easily get away.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
In the meta moment, the book club book is the Wheel of Time.
I read some more yesterday. I got to the not dragon thing flying down and
Oh, so they're almost at whatever ferry, like the town.
oh, they got to the ferry. They're messing with the ferry guy.
Oh, the first time or the second time?
We only knocked on the ferry guy's door. Just
Oh,
now.
okay. Let me know if you
And
get
he
to the
said,
point.
"Hey, ferry guy, we have gold. Make your ferry move."
The moment when the ferry
And I'm like,
guy,
"Whoa, Oregon Trail."
the moment when the ferry guy gets fucked is when I got like that's me. That's where I am right
Are
now.
they gonna steal his ferry?
He gets fucked.
I'm pretty sure he does.
He deserves it too, I think.
Probably. He doesn't seem nice.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah. But I just get an Oregon Trail feeling from this ferry.
Yeah.
I hope it's not a Shadowgate feeling from the ferry soon.
It's not Game of Thrones. I think you're okay
Or
there.
Castlevania ferry.
I uploaded a ton of videos, and I'm going to upload more this weekend after I fix our fucked episode from Tuesday. I have video
It's going to
of...
rain all weekend. We're going to get shit done, but mostly I'm going to clean my apartment.
Yep. I'm going to spend one day doing sports and one day maybe trying to make a video version of Will Wheaton's Tabletop ourselves for a 2-player game.
I'm going to spend cleaning my apartment and doing laundry, and then we'll see how much time is left.
I just bought a for real brand new studio light to augment all our other lights to like make this happen.
A light bulb.
Yeah, I bought a many $100 light bulb.
Wow. Good choice of money spending by you.
Yeah, well, you know what? We're the kinds of people who get excited about things like lights and furniture, which is proof that we are adults.
I'm not excited about furniture, really.
I am, except I can't even afford the kind of furniture I want. So yeah, I guess furniture.
Oh, great. We came up with this show idea because we're literally out of show ideas. So
I had some other ideas, but Scott did not like them, so we went with this.
Like what?
Let me look at the chat that
Let's
we
just
had.
talk about furniture instead.
Okay.
So, you have furniture in your house. You need it to be comfortable.
You know what? Here's the phases of furniture in your life. You have whatever furniture your parents had, and there's always like the couch you're not allowed to sit on or something. Then you go to college, and there's only three options for college. Your parents are rich, and they buy you a bunch of furniture
You take the old furniture from your parents' house and
that they've wanted to get rid of for their entire lives.
and they buy new stuff.
Yep. Or you go to
So you're
college.
still stuck with your parents' furniture.
Or you go to college without furniture. Those are the three options. We were kind of lucky in that when we went to RIT, Scott had a bunch of nice furniture, like that big table
What?
and everything. Remember the table?
That table wasn't nice. That was the old kitchen table from my parents' kitchen.
Yeah, and then we
that
learned.
they replaced, just like we said.
But then we learned how expensive tables are. But I brought because
That was my childhood kitchen table. Table.
So my family had tons of extra furniture because we had like a living room, family room, like all in a big giant house. So I brought a couch, a love seat, a giant lazy boy that was also a bed, a piano, a wine cabinet, a bunch of dressers. So when I remember very distinctly this time when we were in Colony, we'd lived there for a couple weeks, and I was wandering around like the neighborhood at night, just like wandering around because I was kind of still like, oh my God, I'm in college in an apartment, and I was looking in people's windows, and I saw that most people had either no furniture or cinder block furniture. Like a lot of people had lawn chairs at card tables with computers on them.
Nice.
And then I saw our apartment through the window. Our apartment.
We had desks that we bought.
Yeah, we had real desks.
Purchased desks.
We had a piano and a wine cabinet, real couches, a coffee table. Like our apartment looked like an actual apartment that humans lived in.
I mean, it was still a college apartment very much, but we had real furniture in there.
I really enjoyed that time as
Furniture
a result.
privilege.
Yep. And in fact, that furniture privilege.
In fact, the bed that I had, I bought at a store near RIT.
I remember when you got that bed. Meanwhile, I brought this gigantic fucking queen-size bed.
From your parents.
Yep. That I still have with the same mattress. I'm thinking about replacing the mattress.
Still using the same bed since the first day of
It's
college.
a really nice bed. In fact, remember when I replaced all the slats? I bought those like
Oh,
super
right.
nice slats.
Right.
I spent a lot of money on those slats.
Wood just costs that much money.
Good wood.
Good wood.
But
Rim likes wood.
I'm
You
actually
heard
at the
it here
point.
first.
The problem
Rim
is,
pays a lot for wood.
yeah, I'm much a fan of wood.
Rim will pay a lot of money for good wood.
We have a video of me and Scott at PAX South. Do you remember this? Talking to a wood aficionado about the many different colors, sizes, shapes, and grains of wood
Yes. That
Yes.
he used for his dice towers.
for his dice towers.
Towers of wood. Wood towers.
Yeah, tower wood.
that he threw stones into.
Yep.
2 stones.
I like Matt's
usually.
idea of growing a bonsai tree to be a dice tower.
That would be, if he does it, that would be incredible.
That is a power artifact if that is ever if that happens.
Dude, you cannot argue with the result of any die that emerges from that tower.
So I really like my bed, but it's an old world bed. It's like this cherry oak thing with slats and a box spring and a mattress. There is modern bed technology. I kind of want a modern bed with like the integrated nightstand, the drawers of storage under it, the low form factor as opposed to the super high form factor, one modern mattress instead of a box spring and a mattress. But it's a pain in the ass to buy big furniture, and I got to figure out what to do with the old furniture, and I want to just throw it away.
Yeah, furniture's main problem is that, like, it's not, depending on the quality you get, it could be very, very expensive. But mostly, it's also just so big to move around.
Which is not a problem in suburbia. It's only a problem for us.
Yeah. And the thing, you're talking about stuff like storage, right? It's like, if you live in a house, you don't care about under bed storage.
Yeah,
you have enough room that you don't need to cram stuff into every little space. But when you live in an apartment, you need to use every single square inch of air to store things. Even if you minimize things, you still are going to need more space to put things.
I got 14-foot ceilings. Look, you should see how vertical my desk is and how much shit is up there.
Right. And it could be even more vertical. There's white space out there.
Yeah, you know what? If I owned this apartment, there'd be a fucking loft bed up there.
Why not?
Yeah.
Is that even legal?
Sure.
Whatever.
Don't really care. I would have done it anyway. I only didn't do it because I'm renting this place and I'd have to undo it if and when I move.
Right. But yeah, so like when you go to IKEA and you see all those crazy furnitures that are like storing stuff in weird places and like having extra hidden compartments.
That's for city people.
That's for city people.
The problem with IKEA is that IKEA stuff tends to not survive ever being moved once.
Yeah. I mean, IKEA stuff is like really well designed and it's easy to get delivered because it comes apart and you put it together, which makes so you don't have to like worry about getting it up the elevator, up the stairs or anything like that, which is great. But it's made cheaply. Like the wood is not highest quality wood. It's not like, solid cherry whatever.
Yeah, like I had a big IKEA desk and I went to move it when we were moving.
It's not a
Beacon.
bonsai tree grown into the shape of a couch, right?
It literally just fell apart into rubbish. Like it was a pile of rubble.
Like you can't move it. I think if you take it apart and make it into a pile of boards,
I tried to do that once.
You could probably move it and reassemble it, but good luck. Where are you going to get the instructions to reassemble it? You threw those out.
Oh, I tried to do that once. The problem was way worse. A lot of the the joining
You
pieces.
lost like one screw and you were done?
No, the joining pieces had destroyed the inside parts of the wood they connected to, so once you took them out, you can never put them back in again. Fucked.
Well.
Like you couldn't put it back
At least
together.
it's cheap, right? To buy a quality furniture would have cost more than twice the cost of the IKEA furniture. So rebuying the IKEA furniture is not the end of the world.
So my philosophy is pretty much when I move, all the IKEA stuff just gets thrown away.
Well, I did move those IKEA Ivar shelves that my bookshelves.
Oh yeah,
but
that's true.
Those are just pretty much like that's like the most minimal furniture.
Yeah,
it's like some pieces of
I'm
wood.
talking like computer desk.
Exactly. Computer desk. Got to know if you'll make it.
Yeah, computer desk was dicey enough even just installing in this apartment.
Well, the computer desk I have now is actually really nice. The main problem with it is that it's IKEA, but the painted surface of it like basically peeled off. And it's like it's like it's got like some kind of coating on it. It's like it's wood with like some plastic shit, and there's paint on the plastic shit that is now eroded away.
The one thing, it's an IKEA, but we got like the upper end IKEA. These are like all these chunks are like inch thick solid wood.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is actually a for real sturdy.
Like
desk.
imagine if like the black like it's happening sort of on the corners near yours, right?
Yep. Of course, you know why it's happening there? Because I have this giant heavy ass microphone boom that I slam in this spot multiple times a week.
Mine happens in the spot where I rub my wrists.
But look, Emily's is the older one because we both have the exact same desk. Hers doesn't have any problem.
She has a keyboard drawer. She's not putting her hands up
I
on the
also
other.
have a keyboard drawer.
See, mine, I'm putting my hands up on the desk. And
When I look
that's
for a
why it
desk,
is the way it is.
keyboard drawer is like a deal breaker if it's not there.
Really?
I really like the keyboard drawer.
I don't like the keyboard
I like the
drawer. I
desk
like going
surface.
up on the surface.
I like the surface to be a lot higher than I should put my hands when I'm typing. And I want to type nice and low, lined up with my chair, and I like to pull the keyboard over my lap, but yet still have everything else be far away from me. I have I'm actually really kind of anally particular about the positioning of my hands, my feet, my mouse, my keyboard.
I feel
my
like that's a
monitors.
separate show, though, right?
That is. So let's skip that.
So what other furnitures you got?
Remember the kitchen table?
Which one?
So
The one that started out that I grew up with, or the one that's currently in my parents' basement?
kitchen table is another thing that only matters to suburbanites because. Like, I really like having a really nice kitchen table. We moved to Beacon. We were like, we need a kitchen table.
There's so many times now. I don't have a kitchen table, and there's so many times where I want one to like play a board game on, eat dinner on.
Yep.
You know.
And also, a kitchen table is nice because they're like one big piece. They're really solid. They're really they're a fixture. They're always
It's really
there.
fucking useful to have a big table.
But can't do that in the city.
There's nowhere to put it.
Instead, I got a Crate and Barrel collapsing table, which is it's great because I can like pull it out when I need a big table and put it away when we're not using it. But it's actually kind of a pain in the ass. Like to unfurl it is kind of a big to-do.
Yeah, and so you got to move a bunch of shit out of the way, and it's not a lot of room to sit around it.
And it's nice, but it is not the solid rock of a kitchen table.
Yeah, you can't really like lean on it. It's not the greatest idea.
It's also pretty expensive.
Yeah.
But I mean, it works for our purposes, but it's the best choice for my life. It's not my preference.
No, it's not ideal.
My preference, actually, I want a ship's table. If I owned an apartment, I would have a ship's table in the kitchen.
What kind of table is a ship's table?
A ship's table is on the ceiling.
Isn't that where they put the maps?
Yeah, it's on the ceiling, flush with the wall or the ceiling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you hit a button, and it gets lowered down and hangs
So
from
there's no
4
legs?
cables. No legs.
So
So-
doesn't it swing around?
Make it really, really heavy so it's stable. Yeah, it'd be fine.
I'd rather just have enough room to have a big old table.
Well, yes, I would also rather. My ideal life is actually having. Remember that house I bought and then didn't buy?
My ideal life, a mansion on top of an apartment building in a Manhattan that is somehow in a tropical area.
Oh my God, Scott! You probably read that same Gothamist article I did about the people who live in a gigantic, basically cabin on the roof of a building in Manhattan.
Really?
Yeah, it is. Imagine the Geek House, but twice as big, and then they have like a garden and a pool and all this stuff.
Yep.
It's huge.
That's
it's
how
amazing.
That's how rich people do.
I would do anything. I might turn evil to get that.
Why don't you start a life of crime right now? Then you'll get it.
It'd have to be a life of white collar crime. I gotta rise higher through the ranks before I'm capable of
You
that.
can do that right now. What's stopping you?
I gotta start Hojo Asami style.
Do it.
But yeah, ideally, I'm a big fan of having purpose for like rooms with a purpose. Like this is the gaming room, and it's like accoutered 100% for gaming. And this is the eating room, and this is the socializing room, and this is the watching media room. But I will likely never be rich enough to have that.
No.
So as a result, I have this collapsing kitchen
Well, we
table.
can have that far, far away.
Yeah, but then would I still have the money to continue to do all the other things I like to do because there's no jobs far, far away.
That's a shame.
So the funny thing was when I bought that table, Crate and Barrel does not sell collapsing chairs. So if I'd bought the set, I would have had this table that I can collapse and put away, and 4 like giant fucking chairs that just take up a bunch of space that you can't do anything about. So I ordered like collapsing chairs on Amazon. They work okay though. They're not the worst. I have kind of gone for the minimal. I tend to like things that are very minimal, sleek, dark colors, thin lines, as little ornamentation as possible.
Yeah, I never really understood how old people really fucking love ornate furniture, like couches with a pattern on the upholstery and really crazy ornate legs, and it's like that shit belongs in a museum. That is not actually comfortable to sit on, right? It's like you can't just plop down on that in front of the TV and eating food on it every day.
Yeah, remember the Golden Compass where what's her name is? She comes to the modern world and she's like, "You really sure this is a university? Because everything looks kind of gray and plain." That's not how universities work.
But yeah, so it's like, my couch is gray little rectangle. There's nothing exciting about how it looks, right?
Yep.
It's just fancy because the way it folds out and has a little storage.
Yep, my
in
desk is black and white. My chair, black. The microphone boom,
Yeah, I don't know enough.
black.
I don't know enough about interior design to not make everything as black as possible.
Yep. But I like really, really minimalist design. Like my ideal furniture is really, really sleek and modern looking. And the problem is that's actually the most expensive furniture.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've gotten a few things. Like I have like those lamps I have out there. They're like I like that style a lot, but those things are like lean on them the wrong way once and they'll just collapse into IKEA rubbish.
Yeah, there's a lot of like fancy furniture places where it's like designer furniture. Right?
I salivate walking past those places.
And it's
sometimes.
like they have, the same way that, some people will walk past like the designer clothing store where it's like famous designer's name is the name of the store. They have like one dress and one suit that are like $10,000 each, right? This furniture store is like, I know one of them is like Beau Concept, and then
Yep.
there's some other ones where it's like maybe they're a chain, but really it's just ridiculously expensive, fancy designer furniture like you'll see in an apartment in a movie or some shit. It's like, man, I want that.
I mean, I want a sunken living room and like ultra minimal. Like
you walk down a couple stairs to get down to the carpeted area.
Bokurano, one of the characters, their apartment is like that. And I just, as soon as I remember I was watching the show and I paused it and just looked at it. I was like, wow, my God, I want to live in this thing.
Oh, yeah.
See, we're old. This is what we care about now.
The thing is, though, like couches, it seems to me that like the pricing on a lot of couches is sort of backwards.
Yeah, the
right?
cheaper couches tend to be better.
Yeah, I mean, people, when they're charging a lot of money for a couch, it's usually leather. I see that as a negative because it gets all sticky when it's warm and whatnot.
Yep, and if you like
and you
mess
can
it
ruin
up,
it very easily.
It's real expensive to
I feel
fix.
like, you're living in this place, you're using this couch a lot, you're a nerd. You need a durable couch, not a easily ruined leather couch. Also, a lot of them are way too squishy, right? It's like I can't be doing something squishy.
Yep.
Right? I need something that's like...
really...
I mean, it needs to be somewhat squishy to be comfortable, but a lot of them are like poof, and you fall into it.
Well, beyond that, most couches are just too bulky. They take up way too much space.
Well, they're so poofy with air.
Yep. But also, like, they have really, really wide armrests for no reason, and they tend to be really dense and heavy and have all this, like, extra stuff like the fold-out bed and multiple recliners and like the L-shaped sectional.
Well, the L-shaped sectional, right, is sort of a good thing because number one,
in suburbia.
Yeah, but you can get enough sections to match whatever room you've got. So as for the manufacturer, it's like, well, this one couch fits all rooms. You can just buy one little section, get a normal.
But that's such a plebeian style of interior design because that's the suburban interior design is always the same. Cover every wall with shit,
right?
And there's nothing in the middle of the room except maybe a coffee table.
The other thing is the L shape allows you to have maximum seating where no one has an obstructed view
of the TV.
Exactly. And but you have lots and lots of seats. What are you gonna do? Put two couches, one with a space in the corner. If you have a space in the corner with a coffee table, well, you just lost like two seats over there.
Yep.
Right. The L shape allows you to get maximum seating. All in, no matter what shape your room is. Usually rooms are squares or rectangles.
But I guess what bothers me is that kind of furniture assumes a big living room, not a family room, really. Well, if you're from the United States Midwest, there's a distinct difference between a family room and a living room.
Mm-hmm.
But which is weird because the family room is the room that you live in, and the living room is the room with the furniture you're not allowed to touch that you entertain guests in.
Also, some of the features of the L-shaped couch, like the recliners at the end, it's like, that's not bad.
That's not bad.
It's better than having a separate recliner standing on its own, taking up a whole big area because it's got to spin freely and whatnot.
I could not imagine even having a recliner of any kind in New York.
Yep.
But because we had this blue recliner, a proper lazy boy that I brought with us to RIT. That thing would barely fit in the Geeknights studio. It is so big.
It would be like the only furniture in this room, pretty much.
It was so comfortable, though.
It's okay. I mean, you could sleep in it if you really wanted
to. It reclined into a full bed, pretty much.
But it wasn't that comfortable.
Yeah, well, I liked it. It was old. That was his problem. But that style assumes that you have a room with a TV, and the TV is the centerpiece of all interaction.
Yep.
And that you will never put anything in the middle of the room except maybe a coffee table, and you will put the couch at the edge of the room, filling all the walls.
Mm-hmm.
Better interior design is to have a couch that might still be an L, but it's a chase at the end instead of just a sectional. Because then you can lounge on it, you can sit in multiple directions, and you put that shit in the middle of the room.
Yeah,
stepped back from the wall.
That's pretty much the one thing I learned from, like, I didn't, I guess my furniture is mostly IKEA, but, I looked in the IKEA catalog and I was like, I want an apartment that looks like this, but I can't hire someone to come and do it for me. But I'm looking and I'm like, all these pictures in the IKEA catalog, they're always showing rooms full of so much stuff. It's like, man, how'd they get all this stuff in all these rooms? They're obviously filling the rooms with stuff because they need to show as much stuff as possible in each picture to sell it, right? They're not doing it because anyone should actually live like that. But I realized, hey, in all these pictures, it's like they got shit, like my furniture arrangement used to just be put everything against the wall and the middle of the room's empty.
Because that's what we all grew up with.
Because I didn't know any better.
If you grew up in a house where like space is not necessarily at a premium, that's just like, that's what all the furniture you will ever see or buy.
But I looked at the pictures in the IKEA catalog, I realized, hey, all of these pictures against the wall are shelves, and the couch isn't against the wall. The couch is in front of the shelves. So in my apartment, that's the one innovation I have, is that the bookshelves are against the wall. Then there's a space. Then there's the couch. And because of that, I can fit all those bookshelves in my apartment that otherwise, if I put the couch up against the wall, I'd have more room in the middle of the room.
That's useless.
It might be a little bit more comfortable to, like, lay down on the couch, or a little farther from the TV is a little nicer. But where would I keep all these books? Nowhere.
Yep. So because I have a much bigger apartment,
and it would look and looking at the couch, it would look way worse. Just looking at me sitting on a couch with a white wall behind me, maybe with some art on it, versus couch with bookshelf behind it actually looks sort of IKEA catalog-y.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Like Scott's apartment, like your apartment's actually pretty classy.
Not right now. Right now it looks like a bomb hit it.
The last time I visited it, it was very classy because you had probably cleaned it recently.
There's like garbage all over the
floor.
Scott,
take heart. Like, you see my apartment now, it's pretty good
clean,
out there.
Pretty clean.
2 weeks ago, that was not the case.
It's so bad right now.
There was
What's the point of such good interior decorating if you just make a big old mess all the time?
Yeah. So our apartment, because we have the bigger living room, what we did is we have the same couch as Scott with a chase L on the end, but it's against the back wall, but the chase is not against the window wall. It's actually stepped back from it to give a sense of space. And then next to it to the right is another chase lounge that sticks out into the middle of the room.
Mm-hmm.
So the L is really, there's a U going into the middle of the room, and then to complete the U, into a full square, if people come over and we're not just watching TV, then we pull out all the floor pillows and the ottoman, and we all sit in a square looking at each other. Because we talk to each other. It's not what it seems like happens at most people's houses in suburbia where everything's facing the TV all the time. We actually put stuff between the TV and us unless we're using the TV.
And then the people turn around and look at the TV.
Well, because usually around 11 o'clock, someone puts on some Gifts with Sound, and then we all get hypnotized, and then it's the end of the night.
Hypnotoad.
I'm tired of shelves because I realized that if I have a big shelf, I put stuff on it never to be pulled off again.
I just don't like shelves that you mount to the wall, because no matter how securely they are fastened to studs, they're gonna fall. They're not. All right. So I need shelves that stand on the floor, and I only put books on them.
We're thinking
and I try to clear them out as much as possible.
We're thinking of folding up the drafting table here because Emily doesn't use it that often, and just putting big fucking shelves here and putting all the board games here out in the middle of the room.
Instead of in the closet?
Instead of in the closet. And then I'm going to put all the stuff I don't use that often in the closet.
And the stuff you don't use ever away.
And then anytime Emily needs to use the actual drafting table.
How often does she use it?
Not that often on. Depends on what she's working on. She'll just open it in the middle of the room and use it and then put it away when she's done. So that's our strategy right now with this room. Now that all that stuff under there can fit in the closet. It can actually now. It just couldn't before. Also, we had a problem. We accidentally bought way too much paper towel.
I can see this happen. Why didn't you accidentally buy too much toilet paper instead?
Those two problems were related, and that is the result. And we've since fixed it. But
It's only solved half of the problem.
Well, no, we solved the full problem, and we've been burning through that paper towel stash for like 6 months.
How about the toilet paper?
We have plenty of toilet paper.
Sure.
Yeah, we actually do.
Yes, one roll is not plenty.
There's way more than one roll.
I meant one rim roll, which is like 3 poops, which is 3 rolls.
I don't know why you're obsessed with the fact that I clean my asshole when I
also
poop.
clean my asshole. It does not take me as much toilet paper to clean my asshole. Is your poop really that dirty?
I suspect that you do not, in fact, clean your asshole that well.
Do you want to come look at my asshole?
You want to come look at mine? Do we need to have a neutral third party analyze them?
The ass man, come and inspect.
Do you want to know what the problem is?
Yeah. All right.
But like, I'm sick of, you know what I'm really sick of? Cheap shelves lining up the wall. Because we're like that one really tall IKEA bookshelf that every nerd has like 4 of next to each other.
The Billy bookshelf?
Yep. I'm done with that. Actually, when I was a kid, because we had a house.
I have the Ivar ones, which are sort of like more, you can just look them up online.
They're like industrially, like, I like them. That's a good kind of shelf.
Well, they're just, the VAR part, they're so variable and flexible in what you can do with them. That's the reason I have those.
Yep.
It's like, I need a manga shelf. Let me put more shelves here. Oh, this one has tall trades and it's farther apart the books, right?
It's barely furniture, but the one furniture item, it's either furniture or furnishing, depending on the kind of house. A kitchen has to have either an island or a butcher's block on wheels in the middle of the room.
I need the block on wheels. Maybe someone who I've been asking to make me one could actually do that, unless they're just shit talking, in which case I should buy one.
Are you gonna follow through and like literally bother them to work on it?
Listen, I've been bothering them, and they're just like, eh. It's like, why is it my job to bother them? It's like, I just want, they're the ones I'm gonna pay money to make it. Make it.
Nah.
I'll give you money. I'm not serious. I am 100% serious. There is no lack of seriousness whatsoever. I desperately need this article of furniture that I do not have.
What I really want, but again, I need to build it, is above the island in my kitchen. I want one of those big metal racks that chefs can hang all their pots and pans and things from.
I think you should just get the 3 baskets, the big basket, medium basket, and small basket that also hang like right on top of each other.
We had that for a long time. It was a pain in the ass. We put bananas in it that
That's
went
right.
bad.
That's where the bananas go.
Yeah, I got rid of that thing.
You gotta put bananas in there. That's what that's for. I put my bananas like on top of a microwave.
I put my bananas on top of the bread box.
Yeah, same thing.
But well, for me, wine cabinet that also holds like all my fancy glassware is super important.
I don't need that.
No, Scott doesn't care about that. But I have the same wine cabinet that I've had forever that was like my parents' wine cabinet.
I should get a barrel that you normally would put like beer in that has a tap and fill it with like apple juice.
Dude, the reason you do that is because it's carbonated.
So you're saying the apple juice won't come out of the tap?
No, I'm saying that you would do that if you wanted carbonated apple juice.
Just putting it in the barrel is going to carbonate
Oh,
it?
you're thinking like a wine barrel with like the bung hole.
You know, just a barrel that has a tap on the front.
Yeah, I see. I was imagining like a beer keg.
I'll take a cold frosty mug out of the freezer and then, right?
Yeah,
you know, like a Cooper's barrel with the 2 metal rings around it. It's
that could be pretty
sideways.
badass. That could be pretty badass.
And just put it, and apple cider comes out. The
Things that
non-alcoholic variety.
Things that are not alcoholic will not keep in one of those.
Why wouldn't it keep?
Because it's warm.
I'll put water in there.
Yeah. So I do have a conundrum there because, you know, like I want to get a new bed, but I have a really nice bed that's like been in my family for a long time. The wine cabinet's the same thing. It's this really nice cherry oak wine cabinet I've had for a long goddamn time. I've like family history.
Yeah, furniture is like this antique action that like other stuff doesn't have. If you got an old computer, you don't really, it's like, oh, I'll replace that shit. It's no problem.
Like the other day, I was in a Crate and Barrel because like I needed a thing. And I looked at like the modern wine cabinet they have. It's not the best wine cabinet.
It's way better than the one you have though.
Yeah, it's like I wouldn't buy that one, but that kind of wine cabinet I really, 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 really want. And it would be perfect.
But there's nothing wrong with the one you got.
And I don't want to just throw this away because it's a really nice piece of furniture. It'll be really hard and a pain in the ass to actually like sell it to someone.
Yeah, furniture is like so durable that usually there's nothing wrong with it. It's like, just keep using it forever. It's really hard for furniture to get to a point where it's like it needs to be replaced.
That love seat from and couch from Colony we threw away.
Right, it either needs to get ridiculously dirty or broken while moving, because it's not going to break just sitting there unless it's a couch and someone sits on it too hard. Or a bed and someone jumps on it too hard.
I told someone when they saw those, we were moving out of Beacon.
Or a chair and someone sits on it too hard.
And they were like, why aren't you keeping the couch?
Or a table and someone bangs on it too hard or flips it too hard.
And all I said when they asked, why aren't you keeping the couch, is I said, that couch is white. And they looked at it and they said something to the effect of, yeah, you should burn that couch.
So people do burn couches.
Yeah.
They're pretty flammable.
That has not happened to us in a long time.
No.
All right, I think we've talked enough about furniture. Tell us your stories of wheel and woe related to furniture.
We don't know that much about furniture. We know what the average person knows.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.